How you doing today, guys? Today I want to make a quick video just showing you how I go about changing the belt, or hopefully how I go about changing the belt on my Echo chipper shredder. And what happened was, when I bought this chipper shredder, I think about 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, the fella I bought it from said he put a new belt on it. And everything's run well with the chipper. Again, no complaints with this chipper whatsoever. But it's just a wear item. If you look over my shoulder here, you can see that I chipped quite a bit of stuff with it. So last weekend I was chipping some very stringy stuff, and my belt, it just shredded. And this is a Napa belt. It's not like an original equipment OEM belt. So I went down to Napa thinking that I could just show them the belt and they could get me a replacement, but the model numbers kind of wore off. And I thought it was very funny. The guys at Napa, I thought there was some science or art to this, and I imagined a machine with two pulleys. You put the belt on, you pull it, and it tells you the length of the belt. Well, what they did is they took a utility knife, cut the belt in half, stretched it out, and measured the length. And this is the belt they gave me, which is it's a 1/2 inch by 26 inch belt. So I put the belt on thinking everything was good, and the rotor turns, but what happens is once it gets under some stress, it slows down. So like when I tried to chip branches, even stuff that wasn't very big, the rotor would slow down. So yes, it did the job, but it wasn't really chipping as well as it should. So the next thing I did is I did go to the directions, and the last time I needed parts for my chipper, I had a little bit of trouble because my local dealer couldn't find the part number for what I needed, and the machine is so old. I don't even think this is an Echo, honestly. I think this is Bearcat, which Echo bought out. So they had a little bit of trouble. So I went online and found what I could for part numbers, and to the best of my knowledge, the part that I need is a belt 5L27. That seems to be the part number. So I called Napa, and I told the fella at Napa that, has he ever heard of something called a 5L27 belt? And he, looked in his computer, and he said, well, I have a 5L270. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be the trick for me. So this belt was like 19 and change, 20 and change with tax. So hopefully I'm really praying that all it is just switching out this belt and everything's going to be good. And then in 3 or 4 years, if it happens again, if I use the chipper as much as I have been, I'll know what to get. Let me just go ahead and show you what's involved in replacing the belt on a Echo or Bearcat chipper shredder. And they're all going to be different, but I was very impressed with how easy it was to replace the belt in this machine. All you need to do to replace the belt is there's 3 bolts on the shroud here, and then you can kind of pull the shroud off. And then there's actually another shroud underneath, which I need to remove. You can't get the belt off unless you take that one underneath off, because there's not enough room for the belt to slide out. So there's a little shroud right under here we just got to take off. Trying to avoid laying down here because I don't want to get all muddy. There's still a little bit of water in the ground from some rain we had a couple days ago. And then this is going to just pop right off. I'm going to see if I can do this without losing the washers or the bolts. And there's our belt right there. So our belt is right here, and all we need to do is there's this little piece of metal that holds the belt on in case it gets thrown or something. And I just got to remember which way you turn it, which I think is the other way. So you loosen up this bolt that holds it on a little bit, and then this piece is going to slide out of the way. Okay, Now the way this machine works is when you're running the machine, you move this lever and there's tension on the belts. So as long as this lever's not engaged, there's no tension. So now all we need to do is just go ahead and pull this belt off. Oh. It's that loose of a fit. We'll see how the other one goes on. So that's the one that doesn't fit. Now we're going to go ahead and try our Napa 5L270W and see if this one works out better. It's a little bit of a thicker belt. It's 21/32 by 27 inches, so it's the same length, it's just a little bit thicker. So we'll see if we can get that on the bottom pulley first. And that's definitely tighter. So if we get it all the way on the bottom one, it should give us some more. And then that's on. And then because it's fatter, I think it's gonna give more tension in this pocket on the pulley. So I think we're gonna be okay. So I just need to remember that part number, hence YouTube videos, so we're ready for next time. And then we just go ahead and put this guy, make sure our tension's off, put this guy a little bit outside the belt, and we can just tension it. Because I'm tightening, it wants to suck this piece of metal back towards the belt. And I should probably read the directions and see how close to the belt this piece of metal should be. But I'm gonna just leave this piece of metal a little bit outside the belt because I know when I'm using it, it's not gonna be anywhere near. Let me fire the machine up and we'll see how this does with the new belt on it. Okay, so that was definitely the right size belt. And you know, I hate to be the safety guy here, but we all know that it's not safe to run a chipper shredder without the shroud on. So you know, I don't recommend this. Do it at your own risk, yada yada. But that's the right size belt. So just if anybody's watching this, I am working on a Prairie Bearcat Model 50, and I think this chipper was before Echo bought them out. And there's the little bit of mulch I just made. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this shroud back on. That's the bottom shroud. If you ever have trouble figuring out which way things go, just take a deep breath and line up your bolt holes, and that'll give you the answer. And with this one, you gotta kind of sneak it under the muffler, which I need to be careful of because it's still hot. And then you always put your bolts on loosely before you give them the final tighten, so you've got some play if you need to adjust things. Well, that's weird. There's just no way that's gonna fit there. I think that piece wants to be on the inside. I think that was my trouble. Although that's gonna be a pain in the butt to tighten. Unless you put the belt on first. That muffler's still a little bit hot. I just got to be careful I don't lean on it. Okay guys, well we're pretty much all set there, and this repair is no big deal at all for somebody who's used to working on cars or small engines. If you're new to turning wrenches, you just got to be careful you don't burn yourself on the muffler. I should have disconnected the spark plug before it started working, and you know, just think of what can go wrong and take steps to make sure it doesn't. That's the secret to life, right? So if you've got a Bearcat Model 50 chipper, the answer is Napa 5L270W. That's the belt you need. So thanks a lot for watching today, folks, and we'll see you soon. Take care.